Good afternoon and welcome to this week's episode of Spotlight. I'm Dinah Ventura, and our guest for today is a 21-year-old budding fashion designer who is making a name for himself in the industry. As young as he is, he's already launched a collection not too long ago. So today, we'll focus on that and learn how he ventured to this path. Please welcome Ellis Co. Good afternoon.
Hi. Hi. Hello.
Hello, nice to see you.
Hi. Nice to see you too.
So, Ellis, you had a fashion show last July. Can you tell us a
Yeah.
little bit more about it?
I had my debut fashion show noong July 27. It's a 44 silhouette collection. So that's 44 separate outfits.
Mm-hmm.
And it took us around, we started planning for the project on January 6th. So that's 6 months before the event.
Wow.
And so that's from conceptualization of the brand all the way to collection, actually, which is actually pretty kind of fast for a
Mm,
6 month timeline.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, and the main influence or like the main inspiration for the collection was brutalist architecture.
Mm-hmm.
And during the show, we basically just tried to encapsulate that architecture, that culture, that moment, and ayun, that's what we came out with.
Okay, why did you
Yeah.
call it Memoirs of the Future? What does it mean? How can you have
So
memoirs
I
of
call
a
it,
future?
yeah, memoirs of the future.
Uh,
So the thing is with memoirs, it's like usually something that you remember, right? Like, or it's like a memory or something
yeah.
past tense.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why I called it memoirs of the future is because I wanted to make clothes that were not really like that were really innovative, but not too futuristic in where it's unfamiliar na. So,
Mm-hmm.
kumbaga, I wanted to make something new but still familiar to the people and something that's not hard to understand or to wear. Kaya, yeah,
So you
ayun. So,
so
yeah.
you sort of marry the past or the
And
present
past and the future,
with the
basically.
future.
So I
Okay.
tried to, yeah, connect those two elements, and the in between is basically the pieces that I've made
Oh,
during the yeah.
okay. So why did you choose that kind of theme?
Um, it's the reason why I chose that type of theme, or the Buddhist theme, for that matter, is
Mm,
because it's something that feels so foreign and so different to me, and I feel like it was something that I really had an interest in and I really wanted. So like I really decided to make a collection out of it because
mm,
I was really into Buddhist architecture and Japanese design. So I just thought it was interesting to parang to match those two
mm,
aesthetics or those two ideas together.
mm,
It's yeah, because it's not really often you hear like collections about Buddhist architecture. So
mm.
I was like, oh, might as well make a collection
Yeah.
about Buddhist architecture for its weird shapes, for its weird form, for its
Yeah,
weird
see.
structure. I like this photo right now. Yeah, the photos
Ah.
right now. That's why if you guys notice,
Mm,
because with Buddhist architecture, they usually just always use one type of material for the
mm-hmm,
construction, so which is usually cement. So I did the same thing here.
mm-hmm,
So per outfit, like I just try to maintain like one type of fabric all throughout, just like how they do with Buddhist architecture.
mm-hmm.
So that's why, like, if it's a black outfit, it's the same black fabric used all throughout for the hat, for the coat, for the blazer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
very nice. See, so
yeah,
stark and so dramatic.
yeah. Exactly. That's what
Mm.
we want.
Why did you go for streetwear? I mean, and why did you name
Um,
your brand Archives?
So to answer the first question, the reason why I made it streetwear is because ever since I was a kid, I was always around streetwear, so it was like all I really ever knew, and I always just every time it's like streetwear, like I always feel comfortable around it. Like I always wear sheetwear. It's what I wear to sleep. It's what I wear going out. It's a whole culture. It's like a whole movement
Mm-hmm.
in where it's streetwear is basically the energy or the current culture
Mm-hmm.
you see that's happening now. It's not just things you see on the street. It's like it's more than just an aesthetic. It's like it's a whole philosophy. That's
Okay.
why I wanted to stick with streetwear. And then for the second question, the reason why we called it archives was because we wanted to, like per collection, we wanted to encapsulate a certain moment
Mm-hmm.
and be able to express it into a full physical collection, where we use fashion as a medium.
Mm-hmm.
So, ayun, yeah. So basically, it's called archives is because we're trying to archive the moment, to
Okay.
archive the energy, yeah,
Of this
to
moment in time.
yeah, this moment in time. We're trying to bring
Mm,
it to the present.
okay. But
Yeah.
when I was watching it, I was thinking that like your coats, they're kind of classic looking and should last a long time if you,
Yeah.
yeah, right?
With
So
yeah.
there. So what were your inspirations for this collection? Did you have other things in mind?
Um. So aside from brutalist architecture, so there's this one architect who I take specific influence from. His name is Tadao Ando. He's a self-taught Japanese architect, and he actually
Mm-hmm.
did some brutalist architecture
Mm-hmm.
back in the day. And um, the reason why I take influence from him is because I didn't really have any like formal type of education when it came to fashion. Like
Mm-hmm.
everything I really did was like self-taught. So I
Mm-hmm.
really saw myself in him,
Mm-hmm.
and the way like he's able to utilize the materials that he's using in his in his architecture
Mm-hmm.
is really good. And I also take heavy influence from Japanese fashion. So I follow. I'm a big fan of Yoji, like
Mm-hmm.
designers such as Yoji Yamamoto.
Yoji
Uh,
Yamamoto.
yeah, Yoji Yamamoto, Fumito Ganryu,
Mm-hmm.
Junya Watanabe. Yeah,
Okay.
basically yeah, those three. Yeah.
I see. I see. I'm beginning to see into your mind now. So, but one thing about you that really I found so interesting is you're 21 years old, and it seems to
Yeah.
me that you're into so many different things, and then you
Yeah.
went into fashion, as you said, self-taught. I mean,
Yeah.
how did that come about? How did you accomplish all these things in your life at such a young age?
Young. I don't know, because when I was young, I didn't really want to. I mean, I wanted to accomplish things, but I didn't really focus too much on the idea on accomplishing things. But
Mm-hmm.
I just did what I wanted to do, and and if I liked it or if I had fun, just like with music and fashion, then I
Mm-hmm.
just continue it.
Okay.
And I wouldn't really say there's like a formula for success or anything, but if
Mhm.
it's one thing I learned, it's just consistency and perseverance.
Okay.
Just those two. Yeah.
Consistency and perseverance.
And
You know,
perseverance.
that's for me that's still very unusual for somebody your age, you know. So I'm wondering now how that came to be. Like, were your parents like did they raise
Yeah.
you like that? Tell me a bit more about your family.
So my family actually, my mom is into real estate and she's into business.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, she's always been my main motivator. Well, both my parents naman, but um, the one who's really been pushing me when it came to fashion and the arts and to like my whole ethics when it comes to like working and creating is from my mom,
Okay.
because I was fortunate enough that she brought me around as a kid. Like we were able to travel a lot, see a lot of things, and she exposed me to a lot of art as well and a lot of high fashion brands. So I think that exposure helped me really try to branch out, try to like really learn or
Mm-hmm.
like what it really meant to like create or what it really meant to design.
Okay.
So I yeah, she plays like a really big, huge factor in that role.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, from that side, saying that we're like a business family,
Mm-hmm.
ayun. So because we're a business family, that's actually where I learned the work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
So I started interning for my mom, and then ayun, she taught me the ropes with business. I mostly just did the real estate and manufacturing. So
Mm.
yeah, then I did designing as like a sideline when every time I had free time.
Wow.
But now, as of the moment, I'm doing it full time.
Wow. So you
Yeah,
decided to go full time into it already. Interesting. So,
yeah.
now that we've learned something about Ellis and his collections, let's get to know the designer more. But before that, we'll take a short break.
Magandang araw mga katribo! Narito na ang mga makakasama nyo tuwing umaga sa programang Gising Na. Roy Pelovelo, Comfy Manalo, Vernon Velasco, Kim Sancha at Chert Balagtas. Abangan ang programang Gising Na sa Facebook page ng Daily Tribune.
Ilabas na ang mainit na kape at samahan kami sa inyong pag-almusal, mga katribo.
Sama-sama natin alamin ang mga natatagong istorya sa mga latest na kaganapan sa loob at labas ng bansa.
Maaari niyo rin ibahagi sa amin ang inyong opinion via Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now sa YouTube.
Makichika na rin sa latest showbiz happenings, mga katribo.
Kaya naman, magsama-sama po tayo sa
Gising Na!
Fun and inspiring na kwentuhan? Sagot na yan ang programang Spotlight ng Daily Tribune. Makipagkwentuhan at kilalanin ng iba't ibang personalidad na kilala sa kani-kanilang larangan. Manood at makinig sa mga inspiring stories na kanilang ibabahagi kasama si Dinah Ventura. Be ready ng mamangha at matuwa every Thursday alas 2 ng hapon dito lang sa Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now on YouTube. Mga impormasyong direktang makukuha mula sa sources at diretsahang usapan. Yan ang ating damin sa inyo sa programang Straight Talk. Samahan nyo kami sa makabuluhang talakayan live tuwing Martes alas 10 ng umaga sa official Facebook page ng Daily Tribune at Tribune Now on YouTube. Be updated sa news and happenings katribu. Hatid ng Daily Tribune sa inyo ang mga balitang napapanahon sa loob at labas ng bansa. Kami na ang bahala sa paghahatid sa inyo ng mga latest and reliable news. We got you covered sa programang Tribune News on Q. Mapapanood mula umaga hanggang gabi, Lunes hanggang Biyernes sa Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now on YouTube.
Welcome back to Spotlight. Still with us is the fashion designer Ellis Ko, who is also the founder of Archives, a high-end streetwear brand. Welcome back, Ellis.
Hi, hi, hi.
Okay,
Hello.
so we were talking about your family earlier on and how you got inspired by or was mentored by your mom into going
Yeah.
into business and just pursuing your passion for design. Tell us a bit more about when you started designing clothes. Exactly, do you remember what age you were when you first thought
Um,
about doing
so
that?
I s- I started designing when I was 16. So I started making t-shirts and hoodies for like my family and friends.
Mhm.
So that's actually where I started, just making t-shirts and hoodies, and I would just sell them to family and friends, to close members. And then ayun, from there, parang I just kept making clothes for myself until I started my first label. I was around 17 or 18 at the time that I started my first label when I was 29 in 2019,
Mhm.
called Instant. It's actually a streetwear brand.
Mhm.
And then fast forward, during the pandemic, we took a hiatus.
Mhm.
And then recently, when January hit, that's when I decided to start a second label.
Okay.
So yeah, I started designing when I was around 16, 17. And yeah, so all the way until now.
Why did you just go and start designing clothes? I mean, was there
Like your hoodies and
you couldn't find you
so
couldn't
like
find what you liked on the racks?
yeah. So I've always loved art and music in general.
Mhm.
And as I said, since I was like fortunate enough to like travel around, like my mom was able to like bring me everywhere, and I was like exposed. So like I'm
Mm.
seeing like all these other artists, all these other designers, and
Mm.
like all these amazing architecture, amazing buildings. Like I felt insecure, and at the same time I felt so amazed by like,
Mm.
wow, like we can really do this. I mean, like if you check like like Japanese designers, like with like their clothes, like see Junya Watanabe palang, you check his
Mm.
pieces that he made before. Oh my god, it's
Mm.
like just seeing like their art pieces or their work, it inspires me to like, I want to make my own. Like I
Mm.
want to be able to do my own thing, like under my own label, my own name. And
Mm.
and like I'm Filipino, and I'm one of the fortunate ones. There's not a lot of designers who are fortunate enough to be
Mhm.
like me, to be able to make pieces, like this, to be able to, share my art with everyone else. Because
Mm.
thanks to my mom and everything. So, yeah. So the reason why I started designing in the first place is because of traveling. Because I saw the styles from like different places, from different countries, and it made me want to come up with my own style. So I
Okay.
started designing. Yeah.
So in that sense, I think you're an artist in your own right because you're
Yeah.
just translating
Basically.
it into your fashion designs. But you were
Yeah.
telling us a bit earlier that you're also into music, and were you a
Yeah.
rapper before, a lyricist, a
Yeah.
producer?
So
Tell us about that.
um in high school I used to make music for my friends actually who were rappers. So I would always make beats for them, or backing tracks for them, and then
Mm-hmm.
they would rap over my beat, and we would record it at my house, and then we'd show our friends, and we just keep it in a close circle. Hanggang it came to the point where um I started writing as well. So like I would make the music, and then I would write over the music, and then I would record my vocals. So I actually have a Spotify page. You guys can check me out. It's called Ellis Space G. So it's LSG on Spotify. And my debut track when I first got out on the platforms was actually Red Sippy Cup. And actually it did pretty good. It got really good traction. And yeah, so I did music mostly when I was in high school. I still do music until now. Every time I get the free time.
Mm-hmm.
Cause the reason like why like I rap before a while of doing music is because same thing
Fashion.
with like fashion. It's like when I hear all these other like rappers or all these other artists like with their tracks and their songs, I get inspired to like make my own as well. It's actually as simple as that. Because um, for me, like without music, it's
There.
like yeah. Basically, here's my Spotify page.
Mm-hmm.
Without music, it's just really hard to work and like really hard to live. Like music is like a fuel or like a it's a it yeah it in itself it's like a really essential medium for me.
I agree. Music is
Yeah.
life. So you're still producing and writing songs now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How would you describe your kind of music? What kind of music would call it? I mean.
So I usually do hip hop. So I really do rap. So rap
Mm-hmm.
is mainly my thing.
Okay.
Um, not much of a lyrical person, but I'm more talaga on the flow or like the melody. I like to sing rap, if you call it, but I'm not like like one of those singers that could sing it talaga na raw. I need a little bit of auto tune and the effects that I also know how to add.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so mostly my genre has always been
Rap.
hip hop,
And
rap, like poetry, because yeah, I
yeah, I
like
saw
making.
I saw that in your fashion show. That was very interesting, a very interesting element of that whole production.
Yeah,
Can you
yeah.
tell us a little bit about who you had to collaborate with to produce that kind of experience for fashion enthusiasts?
For fat. Is this for the whole show or for the
Yes,
music
for the
only?
whole
Oh,
show. So there was music, and then the setup
yeah,
was a little, how would you call that? Architectural, let's say.
yeah,
Yeah.
architectural.
So
Um, so I worked with AMRG. They're an agency. They helped me come up with the show,
mhm,
but for the whole concept of the show, who really sat down with me and everything was my creative director. This is Aya Rika, man. She's also a director
Mm-hmm.
for music videos. She's one of the yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's one of the main reasons actually onto why I actually got back into fashion, because
Mm-hmm.
usually for her projects she would always get me to like I would like sometimes style some artists or make clothes personally for them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, actually, yeah, because there was a time during the pandemic in where I am during the hiatus or during the break, I kind of got burned out, and the only reason why I started designing again was, because my creative director got me for a project, and
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it, and I kept continuing,
Mm-hmm.
and, yeah, and here we now are. She's my current creative director for Archives.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to her. If it weren't for her, wala talaga yung show. Kasi
Oh,
the whole concept came up with her. Yeah.
okay. It was beautiful,
Yeah.
and very memorable. So where is Archives now? I mean, where's your base of work? How can people find your designs?
So as of the moment, we have a temporary showroom sa Midas Hotel, sa store lobby. We actually have a store in the lobby.
Mm.
You guys can check that out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so hello. Yeah, you guys can check that out. You just have to message us directly on our Instagram page, and then we'll schedule a viewing session. And yeah, for any of the other details, that's when we meet the clients not in person, like when we
Mm-hmm.
take their measurements, and then because most of our items right now are made to order, so you really have to book a viewing
Mm-hmm.
and then a fitting, and then we'll be able to make we'll be able to make the item or the piece the client
Okay.
desires or wants.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I suppose your price range is also customizable.
Yeah, it's customizable. So our price range
Mm.
actually it ranges from 5K to 50
Mm-hmm.
thousand.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's our average price range.
All right, very good. So now everyone knows how you can find Archives and Ellis Co's
Yeah.
designs. So Ellis, what can we expect from you in the near future?
So we actually might be having a second show soon. I don't wanna mention any dates yet until
Mm-hmm.
everything is concrete.
Mm-hmm.
But I would tell everyone to stay tuned. We're gonna have a second show soon,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to spoil anything else. But yeah, I just want to say stay tuned. We're doing a lot of things this year. We're gonna represent.
Okay, so that will be
Yeah.
sometime this year, I suppose, before the year ends.
Yes,
All
around
right.
this time. Yeah.
Okay, so Ellis, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Would you like to say some parting words for our viewers?
Um, I guess thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. And for those who are aspiring entrepreneurs or designers, as
Mm-hmm.
I said a while ago, the key honestly is just consistency and
Mm-hmm.
perseverance. If you have the love for it, just keep doing it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes, I suppose support from everyone around you is also very significant, very important.
Yeah.
And I see that you're very lucky to have such support in your life and to have achieved
Yeah.
this much at 21. Wow, that's
Thank you.
amazing. So thank you once again, and I hope to see you
Thank you.
again in a future show. We're very
Okay.
excited for your future projects.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
thank you also to our Katribus who tuned in today. You can watch Spotlight every Friday at 2 p.m. on Daily Tribune's Facebook page and Tribune Now on YouTube. Once again, I'm Dinah Ventura, and this has been Spotlight.
Daily Tribune would like to thank the following: Makati City, SM Supermall, Sharp, Century Peak, Prime Homes, Tulfo, DOTR Railway, LRTA, LRMC, Megawide, PGMA, DBP, CAAP, ICTSI, Aboitiz Power, Aboitiz, Udena, Cocogen, Globe, NLEX, Team Energy, MPT, Philcomsat, FDC, RCBC, Divina Law, Maya, Smart Trade, HMNF, LG, Smart, Maybank, PLDT, Kaliraya, Mr. Freeze, Senator Villar, Meralco, Republic Cement, Century Property, EK, Mapicon, Carranza, Houseland, Pag-ibig, Meralco, Isuzu, Toyota, Toktok, Suzuki, MG, Angkas, Mitsubishi, Beautyderm, SM Retail, NAC, Mondelez, BPI, Araneta, Insight, Pure Gold, Deco, Watson, Copiroti, Pagcor, and Simply Thai.